Welcome to stage 12 of the Tour de France from BOSSA to Mont Aigoual, heading into the Massif Central, the mountains of central France. Bit of a hilltop finish today on Mont Aigoual. Nothing overly steep, but it's quite long and gradual. Should be suited to the more enduring riders. Geraint Antonissus still hanging on to this peloton. Several smaller climbs on the route today, not an easy course by any means. So there is the intermediate sprint point, won by Knut Knudsen. He really doesn't need the points, he's not in it for the green jersey. 46 kilometers to go. Curious how the general classification contenders will approach the stage. Could end up being a bit of a wash, but also an opportunity to put some other riders under pressure and launch a late attack. And Bianchi Campagnolo are interested in keeping control of the field, protecting the interests of the race leader Stan Åkers. These hillier stages before the Alps should be well suited to Stan Åkers, as that is his preferred terrain. So see if the likes of Bjarne Riis, Ghost of Peterson, and Andy Schleck can keep up. And Lance Armstrong cannot keep up because he's been dropped by the peloton. Blackberry still have plenty of riders in this group. Yesterday's stage was won by Jan Ross of the Fiat team. Ross getting his second victory. He won the first race of the season way back in the Omloop Nieuwsblad. And finally, he's a winner once again. He's gotten Fiat, the second stage win in the Tour de France. So I think that team has just about accomplished what they came to the Tour de France to do, and that is to win some stages. Because they don't have anyone in contention for the yellow jersey or any other major classification. But I think they'll try for at least one more stage win before we reach Paris. That is the style of aggressive teams like Fiat. Adidas also making their presence known at the front of the peloton. They've got two riders contributing to the pacemaking. They've got Philippe Gilbert and possibly Marco Pantani in the cards for today's stage. But I think Gilbert will be pretty pleased with the profile. So too will Julien Alaphilippe and possibly Choman Pereira. I think the punchers will have their chance to shine. Fontis Pelissier just going as hard as he can, then he'll peel off, job done, let himself get dropped out the back. But a hard turn at the front for the big Frenchman. He's just about cooked. So the pace has really gone up, and Philippe Gilbert, I'm not sure what's happened, but he's caught out of position. He needs to get back into this group. So I'm not sure how Adidas has just left their leader behind like that, but I think Gilbert has got himself back in the pack. Here's Pascal Richard, a rider who would be a leader on a lot of different teams. But because of the quality of Stan Åkers, Pascal Richard left to work for another rider. But a very strong ally for Bianchi Campagnolo. And he's proven his worth on his own, winning 2 stages of the Tour of Switzerland. And he's a big protagonist in Tirreno Adriatico as well. So Richard proving his worth to the team throughout the year. So a little more than half the riders are still in this peloton, being pulled along by Rudy Altig, including 4 from the leftovers, just sort of hanging on for grim death. And Gilbert now is working at the front of the pack, so that would indicate that the team is actually working for Marco Pantani today. So Gilbert sacrificing his own chances on orders of the team, and it's up to Marco Pantani to go for the stage victory. It's an interesting decision made by Team Adidas. We'll see how that works out. Pantani did a lot of attacking in the Pyrenees, but the timing a bit curious because he often left it too late to get up and fight for a stage win. But he's gained back a lot of time in the GC. and he'll probably leapfrog a few more riders at the end of today's stage. But here comes the first attack, and it's Henny Kuiper of Bianchi Campagnolo, and he's taking Pantani with him. So using a threat of Henny Kuiper, Bianchi Campagnolo forcing other teams to send riders to chase at the front. And it's Mark Matteo who's done that job for Evian. And the two attackers swiftly brought back. 15 kilometers to go. Auger's still here, near the back of the group. He's got Henny Kuiper to control things at the front. And Gerrit-Jan Tennesse, he's been dropped. But Andre Dargod, that tough sprinter still in this group, never ceases to amaze on this kind of terrain. Such a big rider, does so much work for his team outside of the flat stages. So Bervaca, Peterson is still here. I think Guimard is probably still in this group. It's probably the La Vie-Claire rider near the front by the Evian riders. But a gentle tempo being set by Henny Kuiper, because I think he's looking to launch another attack, possibly react to something from some of the other teams. We're entering the 10Ks to go, and that is about the start of Mont Aigoual. This final mountaintop finish. The gradient never really gets above 7%, and the average gradient lower than that. But it's a steady drag up to the finish. We're getting a bit of a steering contest between the big riders. There is Andy Schleck, a dangerous rider who likes these sort of finishes. And we're getting another attack, and this is little Marco Pantani. So he's going to try again. Following Henny Kuiper didn't work, but now he's on the steeper gradients, and he's gone off on his own. And the gap is quickly going out. It's over 30 seconds. No reaction from the field. So Pantani, on a climb that's not especially well suited for him because it's really not long or steep enough for his liking, has taken his chance anyway, and with 5 kilometers to go, he's 50 seconds ahead of the chasing group of favorites. And they just might let him go here because there's not a serious reaction in the group behind. And Pantani, at long last, could be heading to his first victory of the season. Still, it's Kuiper just gently rolling along. No interest in chasing Pantani because he's a long way back in the general classification. And you see the time gap continues to increase. It's 1 minute and 25 seconds now. So Pantani is going to go out and win the stage. So after all that work being done early on by the domestiques of the peloton, the team leaders have decided that they aren't going to attack each other. Bervaca starts the late charge to the line, but it won't be enough to catch Marco Pantani. The Italian climber of Team Adidas gives that team their second stage win of the Tour de France, Pantani's first win of the season, and what a way to do it on Mont Aigoual, attacking the big men of the Tour de France. As Henny Kuiper sprinting to second place, he was quite strong today, so I think he deserves it. Cyril Guimard getting third, Julien Alaphilippe 4th place. And it looks like all the men who matter are going to finish together on the same time. So at the top of the general classification, I don't think we'll see any changes. And there's Andre Dargod, just a minute and a half back on the stage winner. Another impressive ride. And Gilbert, who was in 5th place at the start of today's stage, sacrificing his high place and his chances at a stage win to Marco Pantani to get him a stage win. So it's worked out for Adidas. Gilbert was never a long-term challenger anyway for a high finish, so I think the Alps would have really broken him had he tried to fight for a high finish. So it's sensible approach by Team Adidas, and it's gone their way as Pantani gets them their stage win. Magnus Backstedt a long way behind any other rider. 77th place overall out of 79, could be moving closer to the bottom of the leaderboard. There is Pantani soloing to a great stage win, helped by a lack of urgency in the group behind, but a win is a win. I think Adidas and their manager will be pretty pleased with that. So 34 seconds ahead of the main field is Pantani's margin of victory. It was Henny Kuiper of Bianchi Campagnolo in second, So Guimar of La Viclaire is 3rd, Julien Alaphilippe of Blackberry 4th, and Gosta Peterson of La Viclaire in 5th. Next is Marc Madio, Paolo Savoldelli, Stan Ockers, Andy Schleck, and Henri Anglade, rounding out your top 10. It's a group of around 20 riders, finishing all together, many of them high up in the general classification. So it was places 2 through 19, a group of 18 all together. Some riders further behind like Choman Peruena losing some time. But there is your new GC. No change at the top of the leaderboard except for Philippe Gilbert, he's down from 5th to 7th. So Andy Schleck is up into 5th place. Henny Kuiper now up into 6th. And Marc Madio as well, he's now up in the top 10. Marco Pantani could be inching a little bit closer to the higher reaches of the leaderboard, continuing to gain time on everybody else. And Eros Poli still leading in the Lanterne Rouge by just a few minutes over Mario Cipollini. Magnus Backset in there as well. There is your green jersey, Jamiluddin Abdjaparov still leading. You could hold on to that all the way to Paris at this rate. Gert-Jan Tönnissen still in it for the King of the Mountains jersey. And in team competition, Zulu Kingdom still up there, but their margin has been greatly reduced. And we could see more of that in the next few stages. But at flat stage tomorrow, the sprinters will be back in action. We'll see you then.